asked us a question. He said, if my customer can tell me what she thinks about the company, in almost in that nanosecond, why can't my employee tell me what she thinks about how we are? And we said, we have employee surveys. Those, are you all used to employee surveys?
Yes.
Those, and the problem with the employee surveys was, it happened once in a year. And for that to happen, you had to plan for about 3 months. You had to ask questions, you had to do all kinds of questions, and then you put the survey together. And it was open for about a month. At the end of 1 month, you saw about 30% people took it. And we said, that's not good enough. You want at least 60%. You extended by 1 more month. And at the end of it, some 52% took it. And we said, we can't wait anymore because it's already 7 months since we started working on it. And you get all those reports back to you. And when the reports come, somebody in the leadership team says, you never asked this question, Raj. And we said, oh yeah, that's an important question we never asked. He said, okay, let's go do a focus group discussion. And then go get 15 people, about 20 times like that, and bring all of them together. And after about 9 months, you have some kind of report that you have that you can work on. And guess what? In 12 months' time, it's time for you to do the next survey. And we said, this doesn't work. And then we quickly, you probably heard a reference to a scanner in the video before. So we said, how can we use technology, that will intuitively get us, answers from our employees almost on a daily basis? And we said, let's ask a question a day. And they said, can you really do it? And we said, of course, but give us some software engineers. I mean, I can't do that as an HR leader. So we got some software engineers and we did the pilot here back in India. And we first started with the scanner. So anyone that works in a fulfillment center goes around with the scanner. And we said, even before you start your work using your scanner, I'm going to ask you a question. And the question pops up on your scanner. And the question can be like, did you like the latest Rajinikanth movie that got released? Yes or no? And the obvious answer had to be yes. If it was no, I wouldn't take it. But you had to then ask powerful questions. It's simple. Do you feel proud to work on your team? Do you get to do meaningful work? Do you feel valued? Did your manager discuss your goals? Are you treated at work with respect? Now, what we told people was, these are not anonymous answers. These are anonymous, certainly to your manager and to your co-workers, but to HR it's not anonymous, so you got to trust us. And all these started coming back in. There was a huge amount of data that came in. But one of the good things I could do is I could really laser focus on that little team. If, for example, all of you are on the team, and you say that your manager, Gayatri, treats you really well, and we want to come and ask all of you, what does she do? Or, and that's Raj sitting there, and he treats you very badly. What does he not do right? And from there on, we realize today we have so much data, we can actually reinvent the science of management. And I'm not boasting it, but there is so much data that we have. Like Google has on everyone that uses or Uber, and then we have it on employees, so we know how to use some of these technologies and scale it. The second one is culture. I heard culture a lot today, and culture is not the touchy-feely stuff that we always think of, right? I mean, you need to be able to use it, and I'm not going to go through all of this here, but we have a program called EPIC, and it's a lot of it is done through technology. A lot of learning happens through technology. A lot of web pages, pitches, discussions. You can be sitting in your Bangalore traffic, and it takes you 3 hours to get home, which is what happens to me each day. And you can just go through all of this, and that is it. If you're not bored. Finally, we said we have a responsibility towards our society, and again, this was given to a best effort, and we now have both a mobile technology as well as on the desktops that you can go and pick up for what you want. And finally, I think it's not about digital or technology alone. There's a lot of stuff that you need to do beyond being digital. I'm not going to talk about all of these, but there are something peculiar to Amazon, and we say we are a very peculiar company, and we say that in a very positive way. And for example, there was a question that was asked of employees several years ago of HR first. What does it take for employees to be happy that won't cost you any money? Right? And HR came with a lot of answers, but we went and asked the employees, and they said, let us work easy. And this is probably the most common I can ever be at work. I mean, I never wear a jacket. If you wear a jacket, people think I'm moving going to an interview somewhere else. So I often wear a jeans and a shirt. And today I said, with the Will Forum and saying I'm not do that. I'm not coming jeans. And the second one is bring pets to work. We didn't have to change it to say bring pets that are actually dogs. Because people asked, there was somebody that brought a cat, which is not bad, but the cat ran all over. And somebody said, "Can I bring my python?" And we said, "No, that's not going to work." So that's how I think technology kind of disrupts the business and work. And in Amazon, we call it "it's still day one." And by that we mean when you won't do anything stupid on your day one at work, you won't do it on day two. But that's my own interpretation. But day one means you're having butterflies in your stomach and you're doing stuff that won't make you day two. So that's what I had to share this morning.
Very nice, Raj. Most excellent. We can invite the panel back on the stage, please. With and Reha and Andy. Please change that. Everything ready for you? Yes, please. Thank you. So, if you read about the Amazon founder, I think you've already given some excellent quotations from him. But one of the ones I really liked was when he said, when I die or something, the smallest list I want is a list of my regrets. I don't know what he said, but a really good one. That's the smallest list, not of my desires and what I couldn't, but my regret, what I did not regret. And I think that that's a good one, in the digital era. You are able to do what you want to do. Most of the time you can't, but now it's quite feasible to do that. I was reading was about when Amazon introduced packaging in at a time when packaging wasn't known. And I don't read much, by the way, but I'm not a reader, but this is the kind you just pick up. And he said something like, when I was trying to pack the things and we were all on the floor when we started Amazon, I said, why don't we get some knee pads? Because it's so difficult to sit on the floor. And an employee said, but why don't you get the tables instead of knee pads? It's so we got tables to start packaging on the tables. And sometimes somebody can give you a better idea than you have yourself. Very disruptive idea, because those days there were no packaging tables. They were all just sort of doing it on the floor. Thank you very much. I would like to now please invite Reha Karthik. Reha, would you like to stand up to your PowerPoint? Okay, very good. So would you, Reha has done some outstanding work in Mahindra Group for a very long time on trying to build a pipeline in an owner-promoter company. All of us are pretty much in the room from multinationals with a global agenda, but Reha comes from an owner-promoter Indian company. And to be able to move the waters like that means you have to move an entire ocean, one at a time. Reha, please share how you move the ocean.
Right. So thank you so much, Poonam, for having me here. And having gone through your theme today, sort of had to move some of my engagements. I said I must come here and share some of our experiences. And I don't have a PowerPoint, but I thought I would share some of the stories, that would sort of illustrate the work that we are doing in this space of digital, women, and the business that is moving around that. Mahindra is a business which is very different, as she mentioned, with a very large rural connect. Yes, we do have a large business called Tech Mahindra, which is very much a technology-driven business. But for the moment, I would like to focus on the other side of business, because let it be a bit easier to get women into the folds of business when we're talking about technology, and today we are in that space about 31%, on our gender ratio. However, the rest of the organization, we are quite a bit of struggle to get women into entry stages, somebody quoted the figures at the engineering colleges, that's our catchment at the tertiary level. And then therefore we have to really think differently when it comes to attracting women in the middle levels. We have to think differently when we're looking at what specific needs and how do we groom these middle level lady executives into the leadership of tomorrow. And with that thought, we looked at the sweet spot, in the life cycle or the journey of a women executive, and we said that it is in the middle years that the women have to fight multiple battles on the role front. As you get mature into the organization with about 8 to 15 years of work ex, you are getting into a sort of general manager kind of position. And that's somewhere in between. So you're not just an individual contributor or a youngster saying, I'll do this and I'll do only this much. At the same time, you're not actually out there in the leadership that you could, do a lot of delegation and sort of find some space for yourself. And simultaneously, as life goes on, there are multiple roles that one has to juggle, even on the home front when you are in this journey. So this is the segment we wanted to focus on, and we have, in the last couple of years, taken 2 batches through this journey of about 30 identified promising women leaders, and we are helping them in any possible way, but through a very structured program which goes on for 18 months. And I'd like to draw on some of the things which were discussed in the morning. So be it, how do you create an ecosystem? How do you sensitize the managers and the reviewers who are predominantly men, who would sort of understand the nuances of, sponsoring women candidates, or sort of encouraging them to take on some of the projects that they have never fished for, signed up for, and how do you create visibility for them? How do you give them confidence? So several such process pieces were put together, and what we have as a output of that is called the Women Leaders Program. And as I mentioned, I'm very happy that 60 women are actually undergoing that program simultaneously to cohorts. Now, so what has such kind of programs done to our ecosystem internally? I would like to narrate 2 stories of 2 powerful women who come out from this program, and that would perhaps connect with the leadership, the digitization, and the women piece. It's these sort of things that we are talking about. So the first business is called SmartShift. I don't know how many of you know about it because it's a small startup, but I'm sure all of you know about Uber, right? You know about platformization. You know that once you have a technology platform and you get buyers and sellers, so that you can create a marketplace. And a similar model we created for our business, which is in the commercial space. So typically what we try to replicate is, outside the big cities you have nakas. I'm sure you've heard this term. That's where the trucks are lined up and they're, the road is waiting for octroi or deliveries of goods, etc. Outside the small towns, small cities, in Bharat, not just so much in Bangalore and Bombay and Delhi. So we try to replicate that marketplace where we said that suppose I want to, let's say, ship a piece of furniture to my weekend home somewhere, on the outskirts. And I'm not looking at hiring the entire truck, but maybe a small piece of truckload, maybe a sofa or a cupboard or a fridge or whatever. Then I get onto this platform and we find out at that point in time who are the trucks which are available. Maybe we can share the load and then get on with to an app and sort of ensure that at a small price I get the delivery of my household stuff or whatever I have to the destination. This entire business was built by one of our women leaders who was part of this. So what has happened is the person had earlier worked few years in the sales and marketing in the automotive space, in commercial vehicle, but it becomes a bit tough, when you have 2 kids and you have family and all of that, go through the rigors of the sales and climb up the hierarchy. But the moment this idea came on the table, this entire piece is war on digitization, and therefore it gave a tremendous sort of what do I say, the ease of operating, if I may say so, for the lady candidate, because yes, you do from your experience need to know the market realities, how transactions happen at an enterprise, etc. But the digitization of this entire thing, kind of brought a neutrality element, if I may use that word. It tremendously sort of helped this particular colleague of ours to establish herself, put the business on cards, and now she's one of our budding lady CEOs. So I don't know if I'm successfully able to sort of give you that evidence of validation. You have supporting these three things together. Yeah, I can give you this sort. So like that, so in Mahindra, therefore what we focused on is through these we are trying to focus on these stories. We'll start with small numbers and how do we sort of encourage more women to sort of participate in different levels in management. What also happened is once we have ladies who are at the helm of such companies, we naturally had a larger pull, for other ladies who are coming and joining this entire team. And I just was talking to one of them who's just back from maternity, and she said it's so much easier to, sort of have an understanding boss who's herself, juggling with two kids, to understand my situation of my post-maternity, and the kind of flexibility that is offered to me is fantastic. So trying to create a workplace which is, through these role models, which will sort of bring in a very, very inclusive workplace for women. So this was my first story. The second story again is of another startup. Here we have a leader in the of a business. Well, the business is not yet full-fledged, sort of. So we're not calling her a CEO or whatever, but I'm sure she's sort of, walking her steps to that. And this is a business which we call as Saboro. Saboro business is basically our lounge experience of having healthy food, which is served in, right now we are only in Bombay, so I don't know how many of you have experienced that. But that is a business where, again, we thought that it requires a lot of planning in terms of the food items that get into your lounge, healthy, eating habits, interactions with dietitians, interactions, create new recipes, and the entire model of ordering deliveries on the app. So there is a digitization piece, there is this health and the inherent sort of this need of a woman to sort of create recipes and feed people around. So we are not sort of discounting that in that manner. And we thought that it would be a best fit to have a women to head such a business. So that's the second example from this program. And again, I'm trying to connect the advantages or some of the finer qualities of women who would bring in when you are sort of inspecting and looking at recipes dished out in your lounge and stuff like that, the nutrition element, how mindful you are in terms of serving healthy food to people around you. And of course, the business set of skills that a lady sort of bring, which could perhaps be equally matched by a male candidate. So this is the second success story where we are seeing that by bringing women at the helm, we are making a stark difference to the kind of business that we are starting up. So I thought that these were specific examples which were about leadership, but Poonam, if you allow me, I would also like to take up one more example where what are we doing about bringing in women at the grassroots level. And while the theme is on the digitization, I'd just like to expand it a little bit. And this story is about new age energy sort of sector company that we have. I'm talking about our solar company. So we are into retailing of establishing the solar panels, etc. Throughout. Again, it's more about rural India. It's more about cities which are not really mega metro or whatever. Now, as we are expanding, there is naturally a need for people who would sort of go ahead and install those solar panels up there, on the top of your houses or your bungalows or what have you. Then we felt that typically when in the smaller village, the main breadwinner of the family works out of the house. So it is typically the wife, children, or the old parents who are at home. Solar panel installation is a job which requires typically 1, 2, or sometimes even 3 days. So you have to be, 8 or 10 hours working in and out, in a small house, going up and down the terrace. I'm just trying to give you the visualization. And these installation men used to run up and down to get that thing. And then we said, let's look at it differently. How about training up some of these village girls who are maybe 12th graders or getting into ITI and training them up for solar panel installation? And this thought we carried forward. And today, last 1 year or so, we have 60 installation ladies who are sort of into our fold. They're fully trained. 25% of them work for us, and 75% of them are absorbed by our channel partners. So this is somewhere where we are talking about maybe a kind of CSR, or I don't know, we are empowering women, or we are looking at making an impact at the grassroots, or we are talking about sustainability. I don't know. I mean, we're just maybe trying to sort of win many battles at the same time. But this is a stage, this is a project, as we call it, as Surya Shakti, and wherein we are trying to have, ideally all women teams who will do the solar panel installation, but at least a 50-50, so that when these installation people are running up and down, the home folks are finding it really easier to sort of let them in, go up on the rooftop, etc. So people, the customers felt, far better when they encountered daily installations coming up and setting up these things on their rooftop. So business case in a way, yeah. So and when I sort of spoke to some of them, I found that they're kind of pride, because imagine, I mean, they're not so fortunate as some of us who been brought up from big cities. We've had education from some of the premier most institutes. There are people who are 12th graders and wondering what to do, and in their social circuits, when they get on with a Mahindra company with such a job, which is typically seen as a electrical kind of a job, which typically only men in their towns have been handling, kind of leadership, of self-leadership that they bring in. Some of them are already thinking of setting up their entrepreneurial outfits that they could sort of take this movement forward, train up some more ladies, get some more opportunities, pitch in the entire channel build up as we get more into the No, so
CSR.
No, so
What I'm hearing is that most is CSR.
because 25% work for us. So there's a plan in terms of expanding our capacity. So while we may not be able to absorb all of them, but definitely 25% we want to sort of use for ours. So we are in a way creating a talent pool for ourselves, but we're not just myopic saying that okay, we can absorb only so much, we will create only so much, and so that's where it is at the crossover of CSR, sustainability, and the women agenda. Right? So I just thought I'll wrap up here, and I'm sure these three very different and unique stories.
The way you can position it, if you don't mind me sharing,
Sure.
more in terms of supplier diversity.
Yeah.
So you're looking at diversity from multi-stakeholders, not just as an employee
Right.
base. But that's the way we do
Yeah.
it, not CSR.
Buy our products because they need by women from Maxima.
Right.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much and,
Give her an applause. I know that she's driving all of this by herself. And, that's why I said give her an applause. She's really driving all of this. Whichever way, an owner promoter company, it's not easy to do this. So whichever way her company buys into women in leadership, she does it. That's what I see. She doesn't impose. Whichever way, whichever route she can take, she reforms. I notice that about you. She just gets it done whichever way she can. And I think that that's extremely champion-like in the case of Neha. We want to invite Pradeep Chawla. In a lot of business. So welcome to the meeting. Please, you're reading for the presentation. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm I'm a proud Sodexo employee, and we get inspiration every day from our chairwoman, who is Sophie Bellon, because we get almost we get chance to interact with her almost every occasion, and she uses social media and various other platforms to interact and inspire leaders at Sodexo. And if I really talk about leadership, 42% of our board members, they are women leaders. 54% of our employees, they are, the diversity are women employees, and and there are more than 55% of the employees, the senior manager, mid-manager level, they are all women employees. So these are some of the statistics, which we really get inspired. And we are into a very simple and humble business. We are into a business of improving quality of life of our clients and our consumers. And we are into a business of food service, facility management, and technical services. We have adopted digital way of working. Example, we recently launched AI-powered steward. We can take order and it recognizes your voice, and later on it transmits message to all other robots, and later on when you go to a restaurant and order, it recognizes you, and it also knows your paying pattern and other things. Similarly, we have some robots which cleans swimming pool and various other things. So if I really talk about specifically, in terms of the D&I initiative at Sodexo, this is the D&I commitment which we have globally, and it talks about the role of Sodexo in all three different roles. Role of Sodexo as an employer, role of Sodexo as a service provider, because we serve our client in most 93% of our employees are at the client location. And what is role of Sodexo in terms of as a corporate citizen into the community? And workforce I've already spoken in terms of how do we drive. If you see the 9 box grid which we really use it consciously, and every leader is trained to look that grid very, very consciously. And it's part of our strategy and commitment to the D&I agenda. We talk about driving accountability to build pipeline of diverse talent reflecting communities that we serve. So we have around 1,500 women leaders. They go through a program called SWIFT, and this program is mentored by all the top executives of the company. And they go through a structured 2 years, 1 year, depending upon the level in terms of the intervention, and they become the future leader of the organization. So SWIFT is a program which actually delivers us women leader in the organization. If we really talk about as how we really impact our clients and communities, so we do drive and partner our clients' diversity agenda also. Example, we have a lot of sites which we call it angel sites. These sites are the sites where we have more than 40 to 60% kind of women in terms of serving our customers and consumers. And if you talk about community, how do we really impact can, if you can get time, please go through our Eco Kitchen initiative, where we are empowering women entrepreneurs. They come to our Eco Kitchen, which is there in Chennai, and we train women in terms of culinary skills, and we empower them. We have a complete kitchen dedicated to around train of almost 200 plus women into culinary skills, and they buy the food product and they become entrepreneur and they sell this food product in Chennai. And we have hired almost 136 employees from this program, and we are aligned with the partner in 70 NGOs in India to really create an impact on the corporate citizen side. So I have a small AD to really show you in terms of what is the gender agenda which we drive. So Sodexo took a decision. This is a business call in terms of working on the diversity and inclusion agenda. And the business call came from the background of a study which we did for 100 subsidiaries within the organization. And we created two groups. Category 1 is a group where we had a diversity of 40 to 60%. And the category 2 is a group where we had either lesser than 40% women or maybe more than 60% diversity. And if you see the quadrants, if you see employee engagement rate, employee engagement score is 88%, right? And if you see the category 1 where the diversity is 40 to 60%, we are, if you see there, we are 4 point above. If you see the client retention rate, because our growth is depending upon the client which we retain, and our client retention rate goes about 90% in most of the cases. Our category 1, the healthy diversity ratio, has a higher retention rate. Similarly, if you see the profitability, we are more profitable when we have a good balance. If you see our brand image, we do a brand image survey every 2 years, and the brand image survey is plus 5%. If you see the organic growth, and there we see the very, very big strength, because we want to grow within the clients where we serve. And wherever we have a balanced diversity, we have more and more possibilities of organic growth. We grow very fast and rapidly within the clients. And then operational profit also, if you see, the company is led by women leaders, and the operating profit is higher. So there is a clear business case for Sodexo and certainly for many other companies to really work on this agenda. Let me talk about quickly in terms of what are the initiatives that we do. So basically, we also we target frontline employees. We have a program called Pragati. So there are sites which are identified in the Pragati program, and we dedicatedly work in terms of creating a diversity balance there. Any campus hiring which we do, we ensure that there is a 50% hiring in terms of diversity balance. We have a balanced slate also. Our talent acquisition team is is directed to really, whenever the shortlisted candidate comes to the leadership team for assessment, there's always a balance in terms of, so we will have a balanced candidate in terms of assessment. There will be, example, there are 4 candidates shortlisted for the final round of interview. There will be balance of both the candidates, 2 women and men. In SWIFT program, I have already spoken about. We also, get our women leader mentored by the will also for partnering in the process. Prerna Plus is another program wherein our trained HR as well as the business leaders, they go and they become brand ambassador of Sodexo, and they go to our client location and we do various gender ambassador program in terms of awareness. Various awareness workshop, 2000 plus workshop which we did last year in terms of awareness around diversity and creating culture which fosters diversity. If you see policy, we have flexi policy where employee can work from home, work for 4 hours, work for 8 hours. So depending on whatever choice the employee would like to take, employee can work. We never publish a location of our job posting because any employee or a candidate has a right to work from any location because we use various digital tools to really connect, and we don't necessarily need people in the office. And hence that is also very empowering tool in terms of flexi. And in fact, this year, last month itself, we have launched flexi policy for our client also. So what we do, very simple thing we do is that when we interview an employee with a client location, we have jobs like a steward and cook and chef de partie, all those kind of roles are there. So we ask an employee that are you married? So if the employee says yes, then can your wife come and work with us in the same department? So we don't. We had a debate with a few of the leaders that employee with wife can't work in the same department. But we debated with them. We said, show us the data where it says that the same department and this and that creates a problem in the organization, and the company agreed on it. So we also tell that okay, you are working here in Mumbai, but your wife is in Bihar, so can she work and join in Bihar? And then we foster that in terms of reaching out.
Pradeep, I just want to know how digital change this equation in your workplace. How will it change it? Will it change it at all?
Certainly, yes, because various platforms which we are using currently in the organization, whether we have Facebook at work, we have Lend platform, we have various collaboration platforms because business leaders, they can be at their location, they can be working from their homes, but they can still lead the projects, they can lead the complex projects, they can be program manager, they can ensure that the client and various other complex projects are being rolled out. And we are talking about more than 4.5 lakh employees, and in India we have almost 50,000 employees. And whenever we are talking about, example, when we really launch a site, we at times, in 10 days or 20 days time, we hire more than 1,500 employees, so 1,600 employees, and everyone works. And the digital platform is the only thing which can really drive and empower us. So various other things like second career programs which we have and Angel Site certification I spoke about. Is a reward. We have a special referral program which more referral bonus to for referring diversity candidates, and many other things in terms of client interaction. If a client says that they don't want diversity candidate, there's a layer of people they're talking. Even my own the head of India, Rishi himself goes to the client and influences client in terms of how to really need to have the diversity and what are the benefits, and they go with our case studies and data and talk to the client. So last video about what is that gender balance and how it is doing good to us. Thank you very much.
So, like because you talked about that. Would you still be able to push an agenda like this? It's just a question because I sometimes wonder how big is the role of the CEO and how important is the role of HR in getting this done?
Certainly, yes, because I will just share about my previous assignment. I was CHRO for India's first digital bank, for Agent Bank. And I was the first employee of the bank. And I was supposed to hire more than 750 employees in 7 months' time and launch the first bank in India. So I had this blank slate available with me. And the first thing which we did is kept diversity as the center agenda. And all the leaders which we hired, we had in terms of diversity was almost 22%. And digital talent is very rare available in India in terms of digital and banking. And especially, we were looking for no branch, and we had a completely different model. We were thinking about ABL Bank. Right now, I don't know how many are aware, ABL Bank has equal number of customers as Axis Bank, and it focuses on coming from rural to urban, as different than what other banks, digital banks are doing. And this is very much successful, very much possible. The only thing I think the HR leader needs to do is come with the data points, come with the studies, and challenge the ecosystem with some of the data points and create various layers of influencers within the organizations who can really shake the people who are not really pro it. And I think it can be really done.
Thank you. And you know, PowerPoint? Oh, very good. So you might want to sit down so you can pick up. I should see most of yours, so I'm not sitting downstairs. I think something to be share. So we will now invite Emily and Sean. Emily, what exactly is your topic on the personal touch, how to make it big?
I'm going to be talking about how to create influence. Okay.
With digital media, correct. Because I know that you're a master. Tell us first about the story about your son. Because how did you make all that money? Remember you said to me once on a late night phone call, you said to me, what was it? It's sticking with me, but I can't remember it. It was a very, you said, how do you use digital media?
Yes, so it wasn't about money. He's 15 years old, and he took, well, to be a little bit of the backstory. He's one of these really nice, bubbly kids, very talkative, straight A student. So when I wrote my first book, he told me he was also writing a book.
Yeah, he's right.
And I asked him what is it about, and he said, science fiction. I remember that. But I'm not a science fiction person. So then I took him to a business forum, in those states, and they're also there's an adult forum and a kid forum, and the kids get together and also talk about business. And he shared with me at that forum that he was actually contemplating suicide.
That's part of the story you didn't tell me.
Right.
I only know he sold out his book.
Right. So because he's been bullied in school, and the story he was writing is actually about that. But he didn't tell me. So after I found that out, and the reason he told me that was because it was 1 week before school. And he knew the bowling was going to start again. He went to this farm in the summer. So after that, we went back to talk to the school, counselor. And I asked him, I said, okay, finish the book. Because I want to share that story with the kids, maybe other parents. And he told me, no, Mom, I'm already at Howard. I'm good. But I said, no, write your story. So it actually took me another 2 years to write a story, because he didn't really want to read it as students. And he finally finished his book. It's called Fade Away. And he put it on Amazon, and he got it on Amazon bestseller.
Yeah, you got Amazon bestseller. And it's all digital. You just click on,
It's
it's on Amazon.
a printed book.
Never seen your word Amazon, totally digital.
Yes. Thank you for
You stuck with me, so I thought I must revisit.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come in and attend the conference. I'm really honored. I want to thank you for inviting me to come here. And I want to be very thankful to all the speakers who come. My first confession is I'm not a high-tech person. I'm not a really digital person. But what I'm going to share with you today is if you want to do something, you learn about it, and you take action, you're going to be successful. And so first, just to change the energy a little bit, I'd like for you to just turn to the person next to you, just shake that person up and say, thank you for coming here.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you
Change the energy a little bit?
Yeah.
Then I actually have a gift for everybody. I have an ebook. We're talking about digital, right? So I have an ebook. There's a link on there I can share with you. I also put it on a postcard that I have on my desk, so you're welcome to pick that up to share that ebook with me. So you may wonder, who's Emily Bertrand? Well, I was actually born in Vietnam in the late 60s. This is during the Vietnam War. So growing up, every night what I saw on TV were bombings, dead bodies, people fleeing villages, and just a lot of propaganda. In 1975, the communists took over Vietnam. And that began a series of long, dark days. There were lines would stand to get food for family. Sometimes it's whole rice, sometimes it's stale bread, sometimes it's moldy noodles. So, as a young kid, I used to stand in one of those lines. When I was 8, my mother passed away from cancer. And a couple of years after that, Vietnam was going to go to war. We're going to go to war with China in the north and Cambodia in the west. This is when you remember that movie, The Killing Fields, with all the massacre. So they were drafting all the young men to go to war. So my aunt, my dad's younger sister, she decided that she was going to leave the country. She was going to take her 2 kids, my older brother and a couple of cousins. So I'm a girl, I wasn't going to be drafted. But my dad told me, you're the oldest girl in the family, you need to go help your aunt. So I left the country with my aunt. I was 13 years old, and I never saw my dad again. How many of you here have been on a cruise or have seen life on a cruise? Yes, it's like a beautiful hotel on the water. Well, my first cruise was on a fishing boat. It was about 50 feet in length, with 60 people just crammed together like sardines. How many of you here have been to an exotic destination, a resort? My exotic destination was a refugee camp, where we lived with makeshift shelter, we lived with food, water, and electricity. In the United States, my language was just cold and thick. And I overcame a lot of challenges. I used to stay up every night just to translate every single word from English to Vietnamese, so I could understand what was being taught to me. I used to get up every morning to deliver a newspaper. Back in the day, when people was to do newspaper. Wake up at 5 o'clock, pick up the paper, fold it, put a rubber band on it, put on a bike around the neighborhood. But all that difficult challenges just kept me very driven. Because I know that if I started at the bottom, there's only one way to go up. So I finished my undergrad in 3 years. Finished by a platform, which is one of the highest honors in graduate from university. And then I finished my dental school at UCLA. I have a Master of Science in 4 years instead of 6 or 7 years. So this is actually my picture walking out Royce Hall at UCLA. I wanted to share this with that. Thank you. I thought I looked pretty good there. I don't know what happened now. Thank you. A validation. So when I finished school, I came out, I bought my first dental practice, second dental practice, third dental practice. I got married, got 3 beautiful children, and I've learned the best practices, the best way to maximize my potential, to streamline business, increase profits. And now one of my passions is to share those strategies with other business owners. This is actually the first time I'm speaking to a room with corporate people, because I usually share my story with business owners and entrepreneurs. So right now, I own 2 dental practices, a total of 14 operators, and 6 specialists working with me, there are multiple general dentists working with me, and a lot of staff. I consider myself a serial entrepreneur, small business owner. I wrote a couple of books. I mentioned earlier the book From Refugee to Renaissance Woman. That's my story, how I came to the United States. The other book is called Commit to Embracing Your Big Life. Actually got the honor of Hashem, the foremost.
Was it a big life? I like the words, which is so American. Big life.
And this is actually, this book, the ebook that I talked about earlier, that's a version of this book. I spoke in a couple of countries now, international speaker. I train people in high performance, and I also founded my nonprofit. And my nonprofit, we help every month, we do 1 day of free dentistry, and we do that for veterans and families of disadvantaged backgrounds. So my secret to achievement is to have high performance habits, to leverage my assets, to use marketing strategies, and to track business metrics. For high performance, I believe all of us can be a high performer. For a high performer, you need to have a high and sustained level of clarity, knowing who you are and what you want to do, of energy, so you keep your high energy all day, you're not going to crash at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. To have courage, dealing with a difficult situation, could be a difficult customer, could be having a difficult conversation, productivity, to have influence, and to have the necessity to try to be successful, to be your best self. So I'm just going to share with you how to create influence by using the digital platform. And keep in mind that I'm a small business owner, right? So I'm not the big corporation. So an influencer teaches you how to think, challenges you how to grow, how to contribute. And an influencer is going to role model this or her work. So I believe that in this day and age, the digital platforms on us great influence. Because it provides the opportunities, regardless of state, status. It leveled the playing field between small business and large corporations. And then you have that opportunity to leverage social media. Because you can do marketing with social media. I'll give you a couple of examples. I mentioned earlier my book Commit. I made it into an ebook. So I can share it with a lot more. By doing things that help people notice me. So this is actually a magazine for dentists. It's called DentalTown. It's an international platform, and it has a digital version of it. Because you imagine how expensive it is to do print. But when you go to the e-version, you can get it out to a lot more people. I'm also on another magazine. This one is actually from the UK, and it also has an e-version. So when you're out there thinking about putting yourself to create influence, look at these platforms. Don't just be stuck with, I want to be in a book. I want to be in a magazine. It could be an electronic version, and it can just really transform other people, because when they hear your story, when they hear your strategies, you're serving public, the greater public, to do more good. I actually have my own internet radio show. It's called Your Life in Business, Fast Track to High Performance. So it's on every Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's on the internet, so anybody all over the world can listen to it. And what I'm saying is, these platforms are already there. So as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, maybe you have a small company, maybe you're not big. These are already there. So use them. Because if somebody like me can use them, certainly you can. I'm really good with pushing on and off, and then well, things beyond that, that's what my kids are for. And the last thing I do. You know about podcasts, right? So I use my book to send to some of these podcasters so that they would invite me on their podcast. And once I'm on their podcast, that's a greater platform because people all over the world can hear it. This is actually a podcast with Dr. Howard Farhan. He's the founder of DemoTown. Like I said, it's an international publication. Another podcast I was on, so how to maximize your team potential. These are all going out to dentists. So they can see how I run my business, how I'm able to manage multiple businesses. And many of these podcasts are free, right? So you don't need to have a big budget. You need to have the content. You need to have the will to reach out, to put yourself out there, and you can leverage the platform that other people already have. This is another platform here. This happens to be right close to where I live. This is Dr. Marissa Kay, and she told me, whenever we come into the studio and we do this live, and I said, I don't want to try it. Because it was in Beverly Hills, and it was too much traffic. And she said, well, I'm in the studio when they film Scandal. And I said, okay, I'm coming. And I took my son there just because it's in the same studio as the TV show. But usually, nowadays, you're on a show, sometimes you don't have to show up. You just stay at home, you get on your laptop, and you can be on any show, anywhere. This is actually my second time in India. In September when I came here, that's where I met. I was in an event together with several other speakers. It international speakers coming in. And I have a friend on Facebook, her name is Hope. She actually is in Montreal, and she has a group called Sheets Connect. So when I got to Bangalore, what did I do? I reached out to her to leverage her platform. I set up a meeting so her ladies can show up and meet Sharon Lecter. And I don't know if you can see there, it's a Sheets Connect meet and greet with Sharon Lecter and out there in the Toronto Bangalore. So she put out that post, and I really just share the post. This is actually what we just did the night before yesterday. I was in Mumbai with one gentleman, his name is Zaki Hussain. He has a company called USense, which creates apps for schools. That's one of the products that he creates. And he was at my event earlier in the day, and then he said, Emily, let's get on a show. We're going to do our first TV show. So this was at 10 p.m. We did a Facebook Live show at 10 p.m. And that's the show there. You can see on top, it says Coco Media was live. It said, no, we're live for the event. Again, I'm on this platform. It's free. It doesn't cost me anything. And his followers will be able to see me. This is where it gets a little personal. I was at a small hotel in Bangalore, and they had a meeting at that time. I was in the lunchroom by myself, and they broke for lunch. So all of these people from the meeting come in, and there was not one single woman. So I kept looking at them. These are all men. So I decided to take out my phone and did a Facebook Live. And I basically pan the camera around and say, I don't see any woman here. There's a meeting, a training, and there's no woman. You can see that on Facebook Live. And you can see there's 1,493 people reached. 229 people saw that video. So this is what, yes, 229 people saw the video. So when you want to create influence, and you are very clear in what you want to do, you see these opportunities. And you take the opportunities, and you use whatever you have, which is just my phone. I'm one of those people that I think you need to step up to your own power, right? We want, as a woman, I know there's a debate going on and, equality and all that, but the very first thing you need to do as a woman is you step up and do it yourself first, right? So you know that you have the right to be in that room. You know that you have the right to have the spotlight shine on you. And that's why I have this urge, I'm going to take out this camera and do this. So then the next day, I was flying from Bangalore to Mumbai. And I went into the screening line, and I went to the first part and they say men. Then I walked to the next session and they say men. And the next session, they say men. So finally, the last one said woman. There's only one section. I decided to do another Facebook Live. This was in the airport. And I just described my experience. I just went through, the screening at the Bangalore airport, and this is what I see, this is what happened. And I said, I challenge any of you to start stepping into your power. And so that we probably will have 3 checkouts for women, instead of 1 checkout for women. And then I tagged a bunch of friends who have followers. And I said, I challenge you, if you're already in a position that you need to share this with 5 groups. So this is one of the person that share my post. I don't know if you can read it. I'll read it for you. So her name is Christine Mendoza, and she said, challenging you to watch this video about challenging yourself. Increase your presence and expand your influence in who you are personally, what you do locally, and perhaps a global vision for yourself too. Thank you, Emily, the company for this. So sometimes when you put out video, it's not just to share. Challenge somebody. See if they can actually do what you ask them to do. Use a lot of the digital platform in my business. This is actually one of my e-newsletter. I send it out through email. And you know, sometimes people say, well, email, there's not a lot of connection there. Well, you can create it. In this, you can see there's a fish. What is the fish having to do with the dentist? Well, the fish, this particular column is called From My Bowl to Yours. And it's the fish, his name is Giggle the goldfish. That's an interesting. To be my youngest daughter. And in this column, she's going to brag about me. My mom just went to the conference. My mom just went to India. My mom just did this. So when you read this column, it doesn't sound like I'm bragging because it's my fish bragging column. Right? And so you get creative with this. The platform is already there. The email is free. It's going to take you some time to think about what you like to do to make yourself different. And if you're business owners, entrepreneurs, if you know one, challenge them to think how many ways they could be using digitally to bring in a customer. I know you all know Facebook ads, Google AdWords, people use social media posts on their Facebook page, people use a website. You have a website, have an audience section so you can capture the leads that come to your website. Big companies do that. Little one can do it too. Big companies retarget their audience. Little one retarget the audience. And I can assure you, I don't know how to do a lot of that, but I know I can leverage experts who will help me do that. So you don't need to know everything. You just need to get people who know more than you to support you. Does that sound good? Yes. So I have a challenge for you. In the next 90 days, I want you to implement 2 things on the digital platform to increase your influence. Is the challenge accepted?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for paying attention to me. I wish you the best success, and may the force be with you. The force.
Thank you very much. I'll give her an applause. So, you know, Emily, please stay for 1 minute. I'm saying that there is no dearth of people putting themselves, up on videos and YouTubes and everything. But the question I have is who's watching? How do you get somebody to watch? The pitch and getting people in Bangalore to do that in the newsletter. How do you actually get them to do it? I think that's the question. There is no dearth of people doing selfies and putting them on.
Right. So I think one of the things that really bothered me is people using the social media for social purpose only, right? People put things on, people want others to comment on what you ate for lunch and those kind of things. We have a lot of friends. People bragging about them having a lot of friends. Leverage those friends. So what I do usually is, if I put on a post, what I do is I tag certain people. And certainly the people who have followers, the people who have a lot of friends, I write a post and it has something that will be relevant to them. And then I tag those people. So it'll appear on their Facebook page, so then their friends will see it. And then all of a sudden their friends want to be your friend, so then you accept all of them, and you grow your fan base.
So you never tag the big photo.
You never tag us. are you on Facebook?
Am I on Facebook? Me?
Yes.
I don't do Facebook. It's just a lot of noise. I mean, I'm there, but it's just a lot of noise.
Yeah, I know, usually I don't think you really tag a business. I think you tag a person. I haven't tried,
And I just want
I haven't tried tagging a business. But, yeah, because I've been looking for you, but you're not on there. So you're only on LinkedIn. And the thing is, I understand you say there's a lot of noise. You don't have to pay attention to the noise.
I know, but then, noise is noise. Either it's white noise or it's normal noise, but it's noise.
Yeah, I understand, but I think when I'm on Facebook, I'm very intentional. If I'm gonna write a post, I kind of plan who I'm gonna tag and what is this gonna be about? Of course, occasionally it's gonna be just a fun post, right? But usually, like that post that I just did, when I was at the airport, I tagged Proto, who is the CEO of Ships Connect. She has 19,000 followers. And before I came, I was talking to her, so she made me admin of the page. So I would go to her page, and I would do the Facebook Live there. Now, what I did though is, I had an event in Bangalore, in Mumbai, and of course I invited her to come as a speaker. So that's how she returned the favor. I never really said, can you do this? Usually, can you just help share the post? But she went the extra mile because I offered her something. And you cannot offer people anything if you're not doing anything. You gotta be doing something already. You gotta be already taking action, and then you can leverage your connection. And I think sometimes when you do a video, you may see only 4 or 5 people watching. But then the people who watch it, if you do a live, only 4 or 5 people may be watching it. But then when they watch after that, you don't know that. It's been very weird when I show up to a conference and people go up to me and say, "Hi, Emily, I've been following you." And I don't know who the person is. So they must be one of those people that watch afterwards. But I think if the intention is there, that's what you want to do, you do it anyway. You don't even need to watch it.
I did everything. An award is so great. Most excellent. But some stories are just told. Ours is not a story. We actually have a live dentist. This is not a story. Yeah, I'm saying we actually have a live dentist site. I think this is not a story, it's a reality. So thank you for sharing it with us. I want to introduce you to Sangeeta Ganesh. Sangeeta Ganesh is a digital audition partner, and she's the one who does all our digital portal. We've set up a portal for interviewing 10,000 people, free, online, since January 2017. So Sangeeta is the one who's our partner on this. She set up a portal, she does everything. She just gets it all done. So please connect me for some time to report. Thank you very much, Sangeeta, for all your work. So we're going to break now for lunch. I do want to say, I hope that Paramita will stay, and where's Lalita here? I certainly hope that you'll all stay for lunch, and I want to just introduce you all right now to Kavita Mehra, who is with us. She's the managing partner of MindSkills. Kavita has been our local Bangalore partner for doing this meeting. I want you all to take time during lunch and meet with Kavita, and she's done an outstanding job. So thank you very much, Kavita. It's also her birthday today. So anybody who has a kid, please present it to her, all right? Thank you very much, Kavita, and very happy returns to you for the day. We won't ask you how old you are, and it's not important. In the WIN Forum, we're all 16. That's the way it goes. We never go beyond 16 in the WIN Forum. Men, women, everybody 16. Okay, when we resume, we will resume at say 2:45, so we did 45 minutes for lunch. Instead of our 2:30, we will take 15 minutes from the lunch. Is that all right, Gayatri? Sure. Since you are chairing the next session. Sure. Okay. So you never know what we have in store for you in the sessions. Each session will bring you a great surprise.
Can you help me? It's gone to zero. Almost to zero.
I need to call the cab driver.
Yeah. You got one more is there. Right? This will get charged in 15 20 minutes. 30 minutes max. So dash charge. Thank you. चार्जिंग चाहिए
You want to put up something?
That laptop. There is
मैडम का है ना शालिनी का है
हाँ नहीं शिल्पा का उधर है
सर
हाँ ये
If you go to I'll chat up with you a little later. Sure. Yeah, I got it.
if you go to
digitalwoman.com.
yeah
See, I'm trying a live streaming today. So,
Okay.
unfortunately,
you can tag us.
oh, definitely. Unfortunately, what has happened is this hotel connection is so lousy.
Oh, okay. So I think even that is a problem.
internet connection, it
Wi-Fi
went out so many times, and then every time I was realizing it's stopped streaming. Again, I went back again,
Oh God, it
and then
breaks
the
in between. You
very
hear
bad, very lousy
it's just to
connection.
have our own data
So if you
connection.
go to this, no, unfortunately, my data, this thing, there's no signal inside this room.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Digitalwomen.com.
I went to the home page yesterday. Our home is gone again.
Sad part of this.
Just I think we can search in this portal. That's not a worry. So here we can go and look for that. It's okay. You'll see. So we can enroll. Achha, so you are uploading it in YouTube?
Yeah, it's getting broadcast in YouTube.
We
It is
can
there.
we can have a look and we can even share from there. Yeah.
Let me just go to another stuff. I don't know why it is
No problem. Anyway, I know this is this area and sometimes
we say Internet of Things, but then this is what
yeah.
internet goes down, then you're like totally disconnected from the world.
Just
Yeah, that's what happened.